Hi everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about comparing fractions. And if you watched my last video that involved finding a least common denominator, then this unit should be a little bit easier for you. So if you haven't watched it yet, I really recommend going backwards and taking a look. So I want everyone to recognize and be familiar with some symbols. So I'm going to first talk about greater than, less than, and equal to signs. This is a greater than sign. The reason we call it a greater than sign is because we follow what number is on the left-hand side. So it means that the left is greater than the right. For example, 4 is more than 2. Think about it this way. If you were an alligator and you had the option of having 4 Kit Kat bars or the option of 2 Kit Kat bars, what would you prefer? Probably 4 Kit Kat bars. So we're going to take that alligator and he's going to go attack those 4 Kit Kat bars. On the other hand, that means that the 4 is greater than 2. But if we were to do this and we said 2 and 4 that way, and we always read left to right, is 2 more or less than 4? That's right. 2 is less than 4. So this symbol right here means less than. Now, what if I had the same thing on both sides? A 4 and a 4. They're equal to each other. So we're going to use this symbol right here, equal to. You can think of it also as a confused alligator. So let's get started. If everyone can take out their worksheet, it would be super helpful so you can do your work alongside me. Whoops, wrong one. Let's start with the numbers 3/7 and 6 over 21. Now, some of you might notice that you can actually reduce 6 over 21. If you don't see that right away, that's okay. You don't have to. So what I'm going to do is we're going to use the same skills we learned last session to find least common denominators. So the numbers 7 and 21. Remember, if 7 goes into 21, we immediately know that that is my least common denominator. So 21 is the first multiple. Does 7 go into 21? That's right, 3 times. So 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 2 is 14, and 7 times 3 is 21. And right now, I notice I have my least common denominator is 21. So we're going to rewrite our fractions right now using our least common denominator. So let's take here, 6 over 21 already has a denominator of 21, so we're going to rewrite that as 6 over 21. And 3 over 7, how can we write that to have the denominator of 21? Well, we need to find the denominator, meaning the downside, the bottom, has to become 21. 7 times what number is 21? 7 times 3. And whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So if we multiply the denominator by 3, we must multiply its numerator as well. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 7 times 3 is 21. Now, which is larger? If you were an alligator, what would you rather eat? 9 out of 21 or 6 out of 21? 9 is larger than 6, so we're going to have our symbol facing the 9. And put it over here where it belongs on your original problem. Time for number 2. I hope that one was okay. Number 2. Number 2 says 10/20 and 3/4. So remember how we said last time on number 1 that if you don't notice that things are divisible, it's okay? Well, I do notice this one right away because both numbers are divisible by 10. So I'm going to do that first. And I'm going to divide by 10 divide by 10, and that gives me 1/2. So I have now my new fractions are 1/2 and 3/4. Well, finding a common denominator here is really easy because I know that 2 times 2 gives me 4. So whatever I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. So what is bigger? 2/4 or 3/4? That's right, 3/4 is larger than 2/4. So we're going to have our alligator's mouth, or our less than sign. So the alligator will face the 3/4. Now, if you didn't see that and you didn't notice that, again, that's okay, because watch this. I'm going to do the exact same problem without dividing. So what's my least common denominator between 20 and 4? Between 20 and 4, so 20 times 1 is 20, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. So 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 5 is 20. They both ended up being 20. So this already had my denominator of 20, and I need to make that have a denominator of 20, so I'm going to multiply by 5 and multiply by 5, giving me 15/20. So still, I got the exact same answer, that 15 is more than 10. And if I reduced both of these problems, I promise you, you'd still end up with the exact same thing we started. Number 3. Number 3 says 3/8 and 2/5. So let's go, and we're going to write our denominators over here. And we start with 8, and we work through our multiples. 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32. I'm not seeing any number that's divisible by 5 yet. This is taking a while. 8, 16, 24, 32, and 8 more makes 40. Oh, 40 is divisible by 5, because 40 is 5 times 8. And guess what? We discussed when we were doing least common multiple that your number will never, ever, ever be larger than these two numbers multiplied together. So I know that that's the farthest I'm going to go. So 8 times 5 is 40, and that is my least common denominator. So what do I have to do? How can I make 8 become 40? We just said times 5. And whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. Same thing on this side. 5 times 8 is 40. And whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. So we have 3 times 5 is 15. 8 times 5 is 40. 2 times 8 is 16. And 5 times 8 is 40. So which one's bigger? 2/5 or 3/8? That's right. 16/40 is more than 15/40. So the 2/5 was more than the 3/8. You know, when I first started this problem, I thought that there might be a chance that 3/8 was more than 2/5. That's why it's really important we find those common denominators. Number 4. We have 3/15 and 1/5. So this is one of those problems where if you notice you can reduce, it'll make your problem much easier right away. But if you don't notice it, it's okay. So I'm going to pretend we didn't notice. So what is my least common denominator between 5 and 15? 15 times 1 is 15. Does 5 go into 15? It does, because 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15. So my least common denominator is 15. So that's great because I can just copy this over, 3/15. But on this side, I need to find how to make 5 become 15, and that's times 1, 2, 3. 5 times 3 is 15, and whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do to my numerator. 3/15. So now I'm going to ask you, what's bigger? 3/15 or 3/15? They're the same thing, right? So they are equal to, that's what we were talking about, our confused alligator. They are equal. So 3/15 is the same thing as saying 1/5. For our last problem, we have 4/9 and 3/7. Now I want you to guess, which one do you think is going to be greater? Okay, keep that in mind. We're going to see if you're right. So let's write our numbers off to the side, 9 and 7. I'm not so great with my factors of 7, my multiples. So I'm going to actually start by writing a bunch of my factors out. 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 3 is 27, 9 times 4 is 36, 9 times 4 is 45. If you get stuck and you don't know where you are, just keep adding 9. 54, 63. Oh, I do know 63. 9 times 7 is 63. So I know that's the biggest number I'm going to need. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 21 plus 7 is 28. Plus 7 is 35. Plus 7 is 42. Plus 7 is 49. I'm going on forever. There's nothing that matches yet. Close. 42 is almost 45. 35 is almost 36. But they don't match. So 49 plus 7 is 56. 56 plus 7 is 63. And that was the first number that matched. 7 times 9 is 63. So we know 7 times 9 is 63. Those are our two numbers. So we're going to multiply by 7 in the denominator, and whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do to my numerator. And 7 times 9, whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. And now 4 times 7 is 28, and 9 times 7 is 63. 3 times 9 is 27. 7 times 9 is 63. So what's bigger, 28 or 27? 28 is larger than 27, so 4/9 is larger than 3/7. If you got that right on your guess, great job. But I hope you understand why it's super important to find your least common denominator when you're comparing fractions. If you need any help, just reach out. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and check in with me soon. Bye.